The Watchmaker's Tale. In a small, forgotten town nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there lived an old man named Edmund. He was the town's watchmaker, a profession that had long fallen out of fashion in the modern world. Edmund's shop, a humble building with a weathered sign that read Edmund's Timepieces, stood on the corner of a cobblestone street. The windows were dusty, and the once bright paint was chipped and faded. But inside, it was a different story. The shop was a sanctuary of time. Shelves lined with clocks of all shapes and sizes ticked away in perfect harmony, creating a symphony of time. There were grandfathers, cuckoos, pocket watches, and even tiny wristwatches, all meticulously maintained by Edmund's skilled hands. His tools, worn with age, were carefully arranged on his workbench, a testament to the years of dedication he had given to his craft. Edmund was a man of few words, but his presence spoke volumes. His hair was silver, his back slightly stooped, and his hands, though gnarled with age, were as steady as ever. He had lived in the town his entire life, taking over the shop from his father, who had taken it over from his father before him. The watchmaker's trade was in his blood, and he took great pride in his work. The townspeople respected Edmund, though few visited his shop anymore. The younger generation had little use for mechanical watches, preferring the convenience of digital devices. But those who knew him, the older residents, often spoke of his kindness and his wisdom. They would say, "Edmund is more than a watchmaker, he understands time itself." One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves turned golden and the air grew cool, a young boy named Thomas wandered into Edmund's shop. Thomas was new to the town, having moved there with his family just weeks before. He was a curious child, with wide eyes that took in everything around him. He had been exploring the town when the ticking sounds from Edmund's shop caught his attention. "Hello?" Thomas called out as he stepped inside. The door creaked as it closed behind him, and the soft chime of a bell announced his arrival. Edmund looked up from his workbench, adjusting his spectacles. "Hello, young man," he replied, his voice gentle but firm. "What brings you to my shop?" Thomas looked around in awe at the multitude of clocks. "I was just curious," he admitted. "I've never seen so many clocks in one place." Edmund smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "Well, you've come to the right place. Each of these clocks has a story, and I've spent a lifetime listening to them." "Listening to clocks?" Thomas asked, puzzled. "Yes," Edmund said, his smile widening. "You see, clocks are like people. They each have their own rhythm, their own beat. If you listen closely, you can understand the time they're telling." Thomas was fascinated. "Can you teach me?" Edmund considered the boy for a moment. He hadn't taken on an apprentice in many years, but there was something about Thomas's eagerness that stirred something in him, something he thought he had long since lost. "All right," Edmund agreed. "Come back tomorrow, and we'll begin." The next day, Thomas returned, and Edmund began teaching him the art of watchmaking. Day after day, Thomas would come to the shop, learning how to clean and repair the delicate mechanisms, how to wind the springs just so, and how to set the gears in perfect alignment. He learned to listen to the ticks and to feel the rhythm of each clock. As the weeks passed, a bond grew between the old man and the boy. Edmund found himself talking more, sharing stories of the town's history, of his own youth, and of the many people who had passed through his shop over the years. Thomas, in turn, shared his own dreams and aspirations, and slowly he began to see Edmund not just as a teacher, but as a friend. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills and bathed the town in a warm, golden light, Edmund handed Thomas a small, ornate pocket watch. It was beautifully crafted, with intricate engravings on the case and a deep blue face that shimmered in the light. "This," Edmund said, "was my father's watch. He gave it to me when I was your age, and now I want you to have it." Thomas was speechless. "But I can't take this. It's too valuable." Edmund shook his head. "It's not about the value, Thomas. It's about time. Time is the most precious thing we have, and this watch has seen a lot of it. Now it's your turn to carry it forward." Thomas took the watch, his hands trembling slightly. "Thank you, Edmund," he whispered. "Guys, if you want the second part, comment for part 2 of this story. See you later, bye.